Hi, I'm Cora,
Hello, I'm Calum.
and today we're talking about porn.
Am I? I don't know yet.
Porn is all over the internet these days, and even though you're supposed to be 18 to watch it, most people have seen it, even if it's not on purpose, just stumble across it.
Yeah.
So what is porn?
So porn is basically any kind of content, whether that's photographs or video that features sexually explicit content and it's used for sexual pleasure. And it's 100% normal and 100% fine to look at porn and to be intrigued by it or to be excited by it. But it is also important to remember that it's kind of an exaggerated version of real life. So if you are looking at porn, that's not necessarily the kind of sexual experience you might experience in real life.
So is it legal to look at porn?
It is, it's absolutely legal to look at porn, but porn is intended for adults, so a lot of websites and things out there will ask you to verify your age and ask you if you are over the age of 18 before you watch.
Do you think that young people are watching porn because sex education isn't teaching them enough?
Yeah, I think sex education is being taught more and more in schools, which is great, but it often kind of focuses on the more biological side of things. This is a penis, this is a vagina,
Yeah.
You put them together, you make a baby. But sex is a lot more complicated than that. Sex is, very much rooted in emotions and two people connecting, and I think it can be very difficult to teach that in sex education. I think it's often overlooked as well. So I think young people are turning to porn to actually, okay, I understand this in theory, but now I want to see it, and I want to understand by watching two people having sex.
So there are lots of myths surrounding porn. So let's think about some myths of fantasy versus reality. What's the reality of that?
I think the reality of that is, in porn, it's all sexually charged, and you have the most kind of mundane situations, and suddenly they become all excited, and everything turns to sex. But obviously, that's not true to life, and there are many, many couples out there who don't choose to have sex all the time. It completely depends on what you want and what your partner wants. Yeah, that's absolutely not true. I think porn is often an exaggerated version of sex in every single way. And one of the ways they like to exaggerate things is they cast models who have particularly big penises, particularly large breasts, but it's not true to life. So if you ever were watching porn and you were thinking, why don't I measure up, perhaps, that's the reason why. It's not accurate at all.
Definitely, and it doesn't even mean that everybody thinks that that is the most attractive way to look.
No, absolutely not. There are plenty of people out there who aren't attracted to ridiculously big penises and breasts, and it's important to remember that bodies come in all kinds of different shapes and sizes, and often the people in porn are even being surgically enhanced. So what you see on screen isn't necessarily true to life.
Definitely more fantasy than reality.
Definitely more fantasy than reality. Yeah, that is absolutely not true. There are plenty of people out there having protected sex. I would say the majority of people are actually using protection. It's really important to do that to prevent unwanted childbirth and also to protect yourself from STIs and things like that. And often things are staged to make it look like they're not using protection in porn, but they actually are.
Especially in the UK, it's actually illegal for porn stars not to use protection. So
really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Learning something new every day.
Yeah, so probably if it's made in the UK, they are, and you just can't tell.
Yeah. Again, I think it's about porn is like an exaggerated, heightened version of everything. So you can often see things like that happening in porn, but that doesn't mean that everybody likes that. And I would say that probably the majority of people don't like that. That doesn't mean that it is okay to kind of do role play and things like that, but it is very, very important that both partners are consenting and both partners have made it very clear that they want to partake in this activity before doing so.
Yeah, definitely, that is the key thing.
Yeah, consent is so, so important, and if you're not 100% sure that somebody's consenting, then you should probably stop what you're doing and find out and make sure that they're happy to continue.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with just asking.
No, ask away. It's absolutely not true. Sex is complicated, and sex is about, two people coming together, and it's not always that easy. Sex can be awkward sometimes. Sex, especially if you're new to sex can sometimes be painful. So it's not always the best, and not everybody always orgasms every time. So
yeah, and anything in life, nobody's perfect at anything.
Yeah.
There's always going to be times when you're like, oh, that wasn't as great as it could have been. And,
and even you could be having great sex with somebody one day and then the next day it's not right. It can shift and that's absolutely fine. I think sex is all about, it's an experience you share with another person, and I think sometimes the best way to do that is to kind of learn about what the other person likes and they learn about what you like, and it's definitely kind of a learning process that you go on together. I think it seems to be really, really common in porn that both men and women don't really tend to have pubic hair. And I don't think that even is necessarily what the majority of people like even. I think that's just kind of the way it seems to be in porn. But again, it's not true to life. You have people with all kinds of different degrees of pubic hair.
Yeah.
You have some people without any, some people with tons, some people with it trimmed and tidied, and yeah.
It's just all up to you and what makes you feel good and confident.
Exactly, yeah. Each individual person it's up to them to decide how they want to present themselves and present their body.
Yeah, definitely. And your partner should be happy with that because it's your body and your choice.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I think it depends on the person. You know, somebody can last for a minute or somebody can last for hours. It absolutely depends on the person. I think in porn, a lot of the time, it can be edited together and it's all staged, so it can seem like people are having sex for hours and hours on end, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they really are.
It's probably just not really a very realistic representation.
It's not a very realistic representation at all. I don't think many people out there go for hours.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Some porn might be violent or illegal, or you might just be upset about something that you've seen. But if you want to talk, you can contact Childline anytime, online or on the phone.